Charlton, where do you come from?
Toronto, Canada.
Toronto. So your happiness perspective is oceans apart from Bhutan, but I think maybe when you come down to the real basics of it, perhaps we might have a big convergence, more than what people normally think about. So just to get it started, maybe I'll just introduce myself. I'm Sai Khantu. I represent Gasab district, which is up in the north of Punakha. We've just got connected by road, and that is sheer happiness for our people there.
Hari was telling me that was very important, to bring happiness and connect to other people, which brought more happiness.
Yes, it's I guess enhanced our happiness there. So and Dasha Sonam also comes from a constituency which is actually in the south, central south, but have had a lot of problems with connectivity. Tasha will probably explain also the rainy season, the bad road, you know.
Not yet, tell us.
I come from Dagana. It's a south central, located in Bhutan. So the weather condition, the climatic condition is not very hot. It's the tropical area, and especially during summers, there is more rain. And most of the times, roads are long, and then happiness there is quite. Okay. But in my area, we have people from all 20 Jongkhats, all parts of Bhutan.
Well,
and we have a very mixed society there. And that's why we can find little happiness there.
that's great. That's like Toronto. They say Toronto is the most cosmopolitan city in the entire world,
right,
for a number of different people living happily together.
Right. I think Tagana, you know, now this is something as a cross-reference, you know. I come from Gasab, but having interacted through my colleague, Sonam, who represents Tagana, there's a different constituency that I've not really visited, but through his submission of issues, we find a lot of convergence. And I think one great thing my people envy in the people he represents is they could cultivate around the clock, around the year, and everything grows there. Fruits, cereals, you know. And my constituency basically lacks that opportunity. And I think my people would be happier off if they had the opportunity they had with the land there. So I guess they have something to be happier about. But then again, my people take pride in a lot of, I take a lot of pride in, feel very happy to say that part of my constituency also represents nomadic community of Bhutan, which is the Layap and the Dunap community. Most tourists who come into Bhutan would always have the image when they come in and leave of Bhutan with the women with the bamboo hats with a pointed top, you know. They have a little different attire, and this is part of my constituency, Laya. And they basically, their occupation is basically taking care of their yaks, their herd. They still do quite a bit of the dairy work, the butter, the cheese, the wool that they have. Of course, of late, a couple of years back, His Majesty actually said they were introduced to picking up a fungus called cordyceps, which has actually enhanced their income. And their lifestyle has greatly improved. You can see their school enrollment going up. And so they are basically a happier community. And I think as a society in Bhutan now, as young lawmakers, as trying to find our place in the bigger system, I think my happiness lies in the fact that we've come closer to understanding our role than 3 years earlier. As someone who represents a constituency in one of the 2 houses of parliament, our own mandate of overlooking the sovereignty and security of the country in a long-term interest. And so, as basically being brought up as an urban child, an urban person in Bhutan, relatively.
Yeah.
So, my interaction with the rural population basically came through the elections. And I would think Dashu Sonam's interaction is perhaps better than mine in terms of dealing with the rural people. But mine, for me, I have learned a lot about what the rural Bhutan is all about. Actually, to be very honest, what Bhutan is all about. Because Bhutan is not just about Thimphu. And I think my knowledge of Bhutan has been greatly pushed to the further corners now. And I think that has increased my happiness because I appreciate the little things I have. Like we started off with small things, I appreciate the electricity better because I have it here. And my constituents, for them, the solar light, 3-4 hours of light they get from the solar panels is a blessing for them. They take so much happiness in that.
Yeah.
When I trek out to them, when I meet them, we complain so much about the hospitals' inefficiencies. But when I go back to my constituency, the little BHUs they have, it's the most important thing in the world for them. And it's little things that makes us happy, and I guess I'm happy because of that.
This is great, and you've mentioned a couple of times convergence. So whether it's different parts of Bhutan or different parts of the world, we can realize what other people have, we can want that too, but we can still appreciate what we have.
Right.
And an important thing you said, which children have a role. They understand where they fit in the family
Right.
intuitively, and part of the childlike happiness in adults is having people understand what is their role rather than just have tasks to do. I have to do this task, I have to do that task. If they can appreciate the role they have, they seem to have far greater ease and happiness. And does that make sense?
Yeah, I guess if you look at Bhutan as a big house, and you looked at us as members of the household, like I said, very new members, a new parliamentary system. So I guess in a way you could say we're like kids, trying to do whatever we do and trying to understand what is it that we do and what our doings will contribute to the household, And in many ways, I think when you constrict yourself too much to ideologies of, greater ideas of well-being and happiness, perhaps we tend to get lost. But what I really like about the childlike happiness, as you said, is I think really appreciating the little things in life. And a lot of my friends, when they go out to study in very advanced developed economies in the world, they go to very fine universities, they study there. Some of them actually work there, come back. And when we read their stories, one thing that keeps repeatedly coming back is a lot of the Bhutanese always come back. And we always wonder what the reason is. And a lot of them actually come back, and the concurrence is that it's the pace of life. It just hits them that they get so tired living there after a couple of years. In Bhutan, there's a pace of life to Bhutan. Some people call it slow, but we look at it differently because we would have done so many things before we come to work in the morning, because it would take about 15 minutes to drive from home to work. By that time you would have met your family, you would have spoken to your friends, you would come back here, and then done your work, no traffic jams. But then again, after work, you still have time to go back from work, meet your friends, have enough time to relax, and some time for yourself too. And I think basically it's the combination of all these small factors, which is why we need to appreciate the smaller things in life, and makes, if at all, the Bhutanese people are happy in the indexes that we have in the world. Is because of that, I feel. And it just allows us to enhance the quality of life. It allows us to stay in touch with the family members, stay in touch with the neighbors, know what's happening in the community. It's all because of the pace of life. And I think things are changing slowly. I think what is happening is the cost of living is getting pushed up. It actually makes people, the economic implication is that you need more. And you need more, you work more. You work more, you have less time for leisure. And that actually drives the pace of life higher up, which then means you have to do away with the time you have actually you could really talk to your neighbor or meet your relatives and stay in touch with your community, all these things. Something, a typical example would be, when I grew up, I remember going once or twice in a year back to villages where we have the annual rituals, But there's an excuse because you actually get to meet the whole of the family there. And you stay in touch. I guess that contributes to happiness too. To know how your relatives are doing this and that. But increasingly this is slowing down. But I think in our wisdom of His Majesty's leadership, there's been stress on communal invigoration, reinvigoration, and modern infrastructures need to promote people-to-people contact more, and I guess that's why sometimes people might find things in Bhutan move slowly, even in the government offices. And people get frustrated saying, oh, the paper takes so long to get approved. But in some ways, I guess that's contributing to the face of life in Bhutan.